And one thing I've read that I think is good public information, consumer information to pass along, J-Dog, I'll get to you in one moment, is and our contributors is if you see something you want to buy and it's off a third party site, so whatever the manufacturer is, say it's a watch or something with your phone or whatever, go to the primary site. So in other words, I just think if you buy off these third party platforms, sometimes you open yourself up to scams. So avoid that, especially today. J Dog on the boards. Haven't seen you in a few days, buddy. I know plenty of football on. I won't even get into the Patriots. It was a fun game, exciting game to watch. I can't believe how do you blow a game when you have it to win so many times and what, five holding calls? We won't even get into it. J Dog on the boards. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I know you were running around. The weather was not ideal on Thursday with, wintry mix pretty much everywhere, but hope you had a little bit of break.
Only good thing was that the Packers won on they served dolphin on the menu on Thursday night in Green Bay. The only good thing. And then let's see. The Ohio State game. Don't want to get into that.
I watched that, J-Dog. I watched the whole thing. You know what? It shows you. I mean, I don't know. I was going to ask you this, and thank you for bringing it up real quick before we get into some of the political stuff with our regular contributors on this Monday morning. J-Dog, so we know there's the great New Hampshire connection with Ryan Day, the head coach, Manchester, Chip Kelly in the Seacoast, former UNH and all this stuff, right? Now that they've blown it once again to Michigan, the team that they clearly should have beaten. And by the way, there's a lot of reasons why Michigan won that game, J-Dog. I'm just going to tell you, I watched the whole thing. The Ohio State quarterback was dreadful all day. I don't know what he was. I think he had the yips. He just wasn't, off. But I just was going to tell you, they just were not. Ohio State was not aggressive in the first half. They have a better offense. Their defense held a few times, but what you got to give to Michigan, they won on pure emotion, and it shows you that anyone can win on any given day, even college. But now with Ryan Day, do they have to win a national championship for him to stay secure in his job? Because I think his job's through 2028. But is he four in a row? He's lost to Michigan.
They have to run the table. They have to do it. Otherwise, Ryan Day is finished.
How do they run the table? I'm curious. At 10-2 now. I mean, do they fall out of? Are they ranked high enough to get into the? What college has the playoffs now?
They're the number 2 team right now. The rankings come out tomorrow. They're going to drop in the rankings, but how far are they going to drop in the rankings? They're going to go to the playoffs. There's no question about that.
And then they have to just win every game.
Yeah, but they've got to run the table from here on out to save Ryan Day's job. As you mentioned, he signed through 2028, but that doesn't mean anything.
So just especially losing to Michigan now.
Correct. You have to beat that team up north to get your stripes.
Who are the top? Who will be the top couple now? Is it Georgia? I mean, who are the top teams now?
Oregon's the top team still at 1.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
We don't know. Again, it's going to be tomorrow night's rankings are going to be very interesting because again, 12 teams get in. We know Miami ain't getting in. They're not even going to be in the ACC championship. That's not going to happen. They got upset by Syracuse. A come from behind win by the Orange, by the way. And also, again, we're going to find out what the rankings are going to be tomorrow night. And then you've got certain conference championships that are going to be taking place soon as well.
So let's break down the story of the day. It's not really Cyber Monday. Sundays, a lot of news comes out on Sundays. And it's usually the kind of news that it's the weird stuff. I mean, not the weird stuff, but it's like, ooh, really? So you probably heard about this unless you're sleeping under a rock or Pennsylvania or sleeping under some snow over the weekend. President Joe Biden issuing the pardon to his son, Hunter Biden, across the board on the tax stuff, the gun case, tax stuff. Talk about egregious. But, let me just point out hypocrisy again, because it's everywhere. So Joe Biden does what some people would say, hey, not surprised, right? I mean, not surprised is it's his son. It's his son. Was I off there, J-Doc? Okay. It's his son. He's going to pardon his son. He pardoned Hunter Biden after he was convicted in 2 separate federal cases earlier this year. The announcement was made by the White House last night. The pardon applies to offenses against the U.S. Basically, the U.S. had that Hunter Biden has committed or may have committed. So, in other words, the pardon is pardoning him of any offenses against the United States of America. And the pardon basically applies to any offenses against the U.S. that Hunter Biden has committed or may have committed from 2014. Interesting time period, right? 2024. Today, I signed a pardon For my son, Hunter Biden wrote this statement. I'm sure he didn't write it, by the way. I also don't think he wrote that Sunday statement when he said he was getting out of the race for the nomination, bowing out. But anyway, from the day, I'm not saying he didn't want to do this, but from the day I took office, I said I would not interfere. I'm not going to interfere with the Justice Department's decision making. Oh, but in this case, I'm going to. Okay. I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted, and that he was treated differently by prosecutors. He sure was, Mr. President. They ignored it and tried to bury the case for a couple of years until a judge wrote a plea bargain. That's how he was treated differently. You think we're stupid? Didn't he learn anything on November the election? You think we're dumb out here? They sat on the case for the laptop and all that stuff for years because it was your son. Of course, he was treated differently. They finally nailed him. He was treated differently because he got preferential treatment. And you know what? It just emboldens Donald Trump to tell everyone these are all the witch. These are all. It's been basically a one-sided show against Trump in all these cases. They went after Trump before he even got in there the first time. Russia collusion, FBI, warrants, all the cases. By the way, I noticed in Manhattan, this Alan Bragg, the DA, he's the DA in this case against this Marine who's on trial. I guess today's going to be the closing arguments for, allegedly, I don't know if it's manslaughter or what, but basically putting a chokehold on a homeless guy who was going to hurt a bunch of people in a subway. Alan Bragg. Yeah, that Manhattan DA, the one who went after Trump with a vengeance, along with the Attorney General, along with the Justice Department on a lot of cases. So now Joe Biden on a Sunday evening pardons Hunter Biden because he was treated differently by the Justice Department. Treated differently. I mean, the FBI and the DOJ, they sat on Hunter Biden's case for as long as they could until they had to, and they were hoping the plea bargain was going to, make it go away until that judge tossed that out and Hunter got nailed. He was treated differently because he was given the widest berth I've seen. What was it, a $2 million tax evasion case? I mean, come on. This is unbelievable. So, good for Hunter. Hey, Dad's president for a few more weeks. I'm not going to jail. I mean, good for Hunter. My father's president for a few more weeks. Thank goodness I'm not going to jail. And it goes back to 2014. So anything they bring up, I'm clean. I'm clear. I mean, well, maybe. Oh, obviously the Trump camp's swift to react. Can you blame them? I mean, look at, and I'm not going to break it all down right now here, the first day back after Thanksgiving, and hope you had a good one, by the way. I really do. Hope you had a nice break with family and friends and had something to be thankful for. It was a nice break. Here we go. 2 days into December. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H. But I just want to say, you look at all the cases against Trump and how swiftly they moved, the Department of Justice, how swiftly they went and got indictments with sitting grand juries on all these cases, whether it was classified documents on the raid at his home in Mar-a-Lago, if it was the business cases in New York to go after his business. There was no criminal wrongdoing, so they go after him civilly, try and take away his license, put the kids on trial, so hurt Trump financially, go after his businesses. The Russia collusion case going back to before he even got in there, special counsel, and they've been after Trump, it seems, nonstop. And then Joe Biden has the audacity to come out and say, I'm going to pardon my son Hunter because he was unfairly treated. Are you kidding me? Again, I just wish sometimes that politicians would just be would just come out and say the truth. I'm pardoning my son Hunter because I can. I'm president, and I don't want my son to go to jail. Just shut up and leave it at that. Just be quiet and leave it at that. You're pardoning your son, Hunter, because you don't want him to go to jail, and I'm president. I can do that. That's the right thing to say. But to come out and say that he was unfairly treated or targeted because he's Hunter Biden, are you kidding me? He was unfairly protected. I mean, how long did that Hunter Biden case go? Commentary 603-228-2080. Hey, we have our new Fox affiliation. You're going to hear it throughout the mornings and days now. Goodbye, sayonara, ABC News. I'll leave it at that. You can kind of decipher maybe why that is. There's going to be a lot of other media changes nationally. Thursday, Hot Tubs for Heroes. I'll be doing the show live. Great Bay Spa and Sauna in Portsmouth. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H. J Dog on the boards, our 6 hour studios. Welcome to December. Hard to believe. Back in a moment. Received unfair attention because of politics, period. He sure did. They looked the other way as long as they could, period. 603 228 2080. I just have to point this out. Again, it's politics, politics, politics. That's what Washington is all about. And that's why I think the election of Trump and a lot of the folks coming in and everyone's, freaking out on who the FBI nominee is going to be and goodbye, Mr. Ray, and all the Chris Ray and all this stuff. Washington needs a good cleaning out. It really does. And it's going to get it, by the way. Not to mention cutting into the waste and all the stuff that Ramaswamy and Musk will do, and all this stuff that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Bobby Kennedy in the health area. But let's go back. This is the problem with politics. And Joe Biden, by the way, been my assertion all along. He's too old to change. He's been a politician more than 5 decades, half a century. He's been a politician. That's why he didn't give up the nomination. He didn't give it up. He was forced out, and we will hear one day who and how strongly they forced him out. You can stay as president. We won't take that away from you with the 25th, invoking the 25th Amendment, but you are out of the race. Joe Biden is a politician. So last night, the Biden White House, the outgoing president, issues a full pardon going back to 2014 on all crimes committed by his son, Hunter, against the United States. So Hunter's not going to jail. Is anyone really surprised out there? Hunter's not going to jail because his dad's president for a few more weeks. So he's not going to jail. But the funny thing is what Biden said, basically saying his son was unfairly targeted for the IRS tax stuff and the gun, breaking the law and getting the gun because of who he is. He was unfairly targeted because he's Joe Biden's son. Are you kidding me? He was unfairly protected because he's your son until they couldn't do it anymore. So here's the facts. The timeline is a great article in Power Oversight. It's a whistleblower research. The first awareness about Hunter Biden, investigator for the Internal Revenue Service, criminal investigations, international financial tax crimes, goes back to 2018. Officially opens an investigation. This guy named Ziegler with the IRS federally opens up an investigation into Hunter Biden. So DOJ is aware back to 2018. That's 6 years ago. 6 years ago. 2019, all the Delaware stuff, FBI, U.S. Attorney's Office opened an investigation into banking reports, potential money laundering charges, 2019 against Hunter, all the international business stuff. I could go on. In 2019 alone, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 10 interactions that had something to do with the FBI or DOJ against Hunter Biden. By the way, it was on August 25th, 2019, when Joe Biden announced his candidacy for president. And that's germane because you can see how this stuff started to get squelched. The laptop, and it went on and on and on. 2020, 2021, 2022. This is like a novel of cases, investigation against Hunter Biden. It's unbelievable. Read this thing. It goes on and on and on like more than a no school announcement after Northeast snowstorm here. It just goes on and on and on. It's like a book. It's a novel. Tale of Two Cities. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden through 2023. 6 years of all these. Wow. And he's not going to jail, even though he was convicted. Not going to jail. Not a surprise, by the way. Not a surprise, but he's not going to jail. So, again, it would have been better if Joe Biden came out and said, in my opinion, it would have been better if he said, look, my son, I love him. He screwed up a lot. He was convicted. And if he wasn't my son, he'd be going to jail. But I'm the president of the United States for a few more weeks, so he's not going to jail. I'm going to issue a pardon. That would be honest, right? That would be honest, right? But no, poor Hunter was unfairly targeted. He was unfairly protected, is what you should say, by the way. All right. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google, play the Pulse of an H. We have some great programming updates for you right here. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, by the way. And they are, you can now watch us in the first hour of the show, our own YouTube channel. All you got to say, we make it easy for you. The Pulse of an H. Watch on YouTube. Many of you are right now. Tens of thousands. By the way, I looked up got a report through the election in November from the streaming numbers, from desktops, cell phones, smart devices, people streaming in our Manchester, Maine, New Hampshire, Boston metro region, Manchester, Boston metro, around the country and around the world. The number was eye-popping to me. Let's just say a total of closer to 200,000 than 100,000 listeners. Unbelievable. Definitely probably more people than are watching MSNBC at night now. So we make it easy for you there too. Any streaming at all, just the Pulse of an H, 9 to noon, the Pulse of an H. And now our new Fox affiliation, we announced this morning or started in our programming, Heath Cole and the team, our Fox affiliation with Fox News at the top of each hour, Fox programs as well. In addition to the Pulse of an H, we still have Carson with Newsmax, noon to 3, Howie Carr show in the afternoon, but Fox bumping out, and I'll just leave it at that, replacing ABC News. Heard from a lot of you over the last few years about the ABC News slant, if you will. Oh, but Fox has a slant. Well, we listen to our customers here. What a novel concept. We actually pay attention to who our customer base is. So, Fox, new affiliation as of this morning, December 2nd, with the Pulse of NH. Pretty good stuff. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of NH. Final programming note this week, Thursday. Busy week. I'll be live. Great Bay Spa and Sauna. The nominations for Hot Tubs for Heroes for a Veteran, where you made those at the pulseofnh.com. Hot Tubs for Heroes. The window closed. So Jamie and his team, is going to pick a winner, a veteran, and we're going to meet that veteran Thursday in person. Great Bay Spa and Sauna. And Jamie will meet the veteran, hear their story of service. And Jamie talk about how the team and why they picked that veteran. And then Jamie's going to take that veteran. We're going to do it on the show. We'll have it pictures and images and put streaming as well and live as the veteran gets to pick out a brand new state-of-the-art, medicinal, beautiful hot tub this Thursday. Hot Tubs for Heroes. Thank you all for taking part. Great Bay Spa and Sauna. I'll be there live Thursday morning, the Pulse of NH. A lot going on. A lot of momentum. We love it. We appreciate it. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of NH. Back in a few. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I honestly don't know why. Well, I think I know why. I don't know the details, but Kevin Spacey got charged in a bunch of cases and pretty much, you know, serious allegations and all the legal stuff against the actor and House of Cards. But that series that was based about the presidency and the White House and Washington D.C. I mean, you can't. This stuff is like a new House of Cards series that someone could write, but who would believe it? I mean, just look at the Biden White House. Seriously, look at the Joe Biden White House. Kind of amazing. You wonder who's really been running the White House the last 4 years, but we may never know. But this Sunday night release from Joe Biden, he didn't write it, that he's issuing a full pardon to his son Hunter, is comical at best. I mean, again, I don't blame the guy; it's his son. So just come out and say that's your son's a convicted criminal. Everything from money laundering to tax evasion to the gun law. He was convicted finally, but it goes back 6 years. They sat on it. They sat on it for 6 years because his last name was Biden. I would love it if people just came out and shot straight, kind of like Clint Eastwood. Just come out and say, hey, I know he's a handful. He's broken the law. He's a convict, convicted. My son, Hunter, I love him. I love him. And I'm still president for a few weeks, so I'm going to pardon him so he doesn't have to go to jail. And I realize that that's a benefit to my son because he's my son and I'm president still. And I'm going to pardon him so he can never be charged again or go to jail. That would be the truth. But don't come out and say he was unfairly treated or targeted because he was your son. Are you kidding me? He was a criminal. And he should have been targeted because he was his son, because half the money laundering stuff was when you were sitting vice president. How much money did the countries pay the Biden family? But the stuff they got him on was clear tax stuff, almost $2 million in a gun case. So just come out and say, hey, my son's a screw up. I'm sorry. He's not going to jail because I love him and I'm president and I have that power to kind of pardon him. And he's getting pardoned because he's my son. Just stop talking. People would say, I get it. He's your son. And but don't come out and BS us anymore, especially after a few weeks ago or the last few years. Don't just, do you think we're stupid out here? You think people are going to believe that Hunter Biden was unfairly targeted by the Department of Justice? They sat on it because he was your son. Oh man, it's unbelievable. But you know what? Only a few more weeks of that. Michael Graham, New Hampshire Journal, nhjournal.com, kind of talking about more of the above from Democrats here and the Biden kind of hypocrisy or it's hypocrisy. Good morning, Michael. He was running circles around him. He was so fit to be president. Right. 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 Yep. Uh, Yep. I'm on. I nothing to add because that's clearly what it is. No, no. What about the Senate, Mike Graham, New Hampshire Journal? What about the Senate leadership? I hear Carson might be interested in running for president. What about minority leadership now that do you well, she's from Concord, right, area? Oh, Seacoast, J-Dog. Okay, who did we have on as a okay. Well, let me ask you this, does, right. What about Donna Susie, who fell short in the Manchester State Senate? Does she get involved? Does she get involved in the future? Does she run again for something? Yep. Yep. How was your mother-in-law's, beef brisket on Thanksgiving? Good. But right. Well, how about who? What about whoa? What about who are the leaders? I mean, I don't think Nancy Pelosi is the future face of the Democrat Party. I don't think Joe Biden obviously is out. He's going to be trying to walk on the beach in Delaware. I mean, who are the up and comers? Yep, yep. But I mean, who starts getting on the scene nationally for? She will be nationally in terms of Senate, but presidentially. All right, Michael. And the other thing too, it's not just the disarray of the Democrats. It's the disarray of national pollsters, national mainstream media. You're seeing a big fallout here that no one's talking about, but I'll let you go on that. Thank you, Michael. You mean the one about your mother-in-law's brisket, the poll? All right. Thank you, Michael. All right. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the polls of an H. We will check in with some of our other newsmakers. Neil Levesque on deck today. Tom Raffio. I think he took part in 3 different road races over Thanksgiving. We'll end with some good news on this Monday. Welcome to 2 days into December. We'll talk a little bit about Cyber Monday. 13 billion reasons to talk about it. Just don't get scammed. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the pulse of an H. Back in a few. Wow. Wow. So J Dog, what a lot of stuff. What was the biggest surprise coming out of the weekend in the NFL in your mind? Yeah. All right. Well, again, we'll I don't know, J Dog. It still feels formative. I mean, it's clear to me that, and I think it's exciting for football that they got to get through the playoffs. I understand that championship game, but you got to think that in the NFC, the Detroit Lions could be going to the dance. It just feels like it. But that would be a great championship. But that would be a great championship game right there. That would be a great game, right? Now the Bills wrapped it up, I guess, in the snow last night. Now the Niners, not much of a match for anyone anymore, but the Bills clinched their title. They're quietly. I think you're looking at J Dog. You're the predictor in this. I think you're looking at Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills. Well, who knocks them out? Right. Really. Who beats the Chiefs with nothing to lose? And you got Harbaugh with the Chargers would be like Michigan upsetting Ohio State. There you go. Well, there you have it. Yep. Hey, it was fun yesterday to watch the not only the Patriots because that it was a fun game. I mean, look, they got 3 wins. They'll probably end with that. I think they blew that game yesterday. The whole Yeah, of course. I mean, you knew that when the season began, I guess. But they they had what 4 or 5 times in the red zone. Holding calls, and then they blow the game in the end. They can't stop the Colts. But you know what? We didn't talk about this, J Dog. I don't know where the Colts go from there, but I don't know if you saw the very, very end, seconds left, that gutsy call. Instead of tying it, they go for two. That was a pretty gutsy call for the coach. I'm just saying that was a gutsy. Yeah, but that call had to come. Yeah, but that had to come from the head coach. That call, and I thought it was a gutsy. Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, right. I just think it was gutsy for the coach because to tie it up and just take your chances in overtime against the Patriots, that would have been a pretty good move too. But to go for the win. But Bruins yesterday celebrating 100 years was fun to watch. The Open, the Canadians, good game was fun to see. Some of the earlier teams, and they did a nice job. I think each they kind of broke the chapters up of 100 years, and it was fun to see. Fun to see. Espo, yep. But right on through Cam Neely and Nifty for New Hampshire's. I mean, he lives here now. But Rick Middleton, wonderful. We should get him back in the show. He was great yesterday, and he and Terry O'Reilly were in the booth a little bit towards I think it was second period intermission talking about that game, and I think it was against the Rangers when when O'Reilly went right up into the stands with Milbury, the bottle on the shoe, beating the guy with his shoe, the brother. It was just fun. Oh, oh yeah, Thrilla in Manila. Yep. Get the Pulse YouTube, the first hour, just YouTube channel now. You can watch the Pulse of an Age. You can listen worldwide, New England wide, Maine, New Hampshire, New England, you name it. The Pulse of an Age. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google. Cell phone, the app. Get the app. And new Fox affiliation this morning in action with our Fox News. Sorry. Goodbye, ABC. We went with Fox. Made a change. I'll leave it there. We listen to our customers out there. All right, John Marshall's out there. We listen to our customers, the Fox change, and Heath Cole and the team and some of their programming and podcasts. Well, fun. By the way, my new podcast will debut in just a few weeks, first of the year. You don't know Jack. Can't take credit for that name. DK, our marketing chief, came up with that. But we're going to talk a lot about common sense, my desperate search for common sense. It's like looking for, did you see all that China in China, the gold they found? I'm searching for common sense. That's the next precious metal resource, common sense and pointing out hypocrisy. Again, it's just amazing. I think one of the biggest takeaways, I mean this sincerely, from the election was a lot of working class people saying, do you think we're that stupid out here? Are you going to continue to lie from I'm sorry to bring this up, but it started with, the Biden administration, it really started on a lot of things. I don't want to go back to the COVID crap, but how about the departure from Afghanistan? You can't do a press release and tell us that was a good evacuation from Afghanistan with what we saw. You just can't lie to the American people, and you should have just come out, Mr. President, when you say, I want to tell the truth. One thing I've always said in my service in Washington as a senator and a vice president is tell the truth. Tell the truth. Well, then tell the truth. Don't lie. Don't lie when we all know that your son, Hunter Biden, was given favorable treatment for many, many years on everything from money laundering to tax evasion to you name it, to the gun thing was probably the least of the crimes when he applied for the gun. $2 million in tax evasion, money laundering, all the stuff with foreign nations leveraging the Biden name. The FBI, the IRS, the Department of Justice knew about your son 6 years ago. They sat on it as long as they could until he was convicted after the judge tossed out the plea bargain agreement. You should just say, tell the truth. I love my son. I don't want him to go to jail, and I'm still president for a few more weeks, so I pardoned him. He's not going to jail because he's my son, and I love him. And he's a convicted criminal, but he's not going to jail because he's my son. Don't BS us and lie to us and say, oh, he was unfairly treated. Yeah, he was unfairly favored. The lying is incredible. And it's just, Washington is just so full of BS, big money, corruption and greed and lies. And you know what? The American people are not that stupid. They're not that stupid. And it's too bad that Kamala Harris thought they were, and the Biden administration and the national media and the pollsters. Oh, the battleground states are neck and neck tied. We won't know for weeks. We won't know for weeks who the next president is. I think when I was in the hotel room the night of the election, sleeping over near the studios, I think 2:15, 2:20, I saw Trump speaking, claiming victory on the night of the election. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an Age. Back in a moment.